Anda sedang mendengarkan UT Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Mama.
Udah pulang.
Menurut Papa,
Mama dulu. Mendingan kamu kerja.
alah, mendingan kamu kuliah dulu. Kamu masih muda, masa depan kamu masih panjang.
Mendingan kerja.
Mending kuliah dulu.
Mending.
Udah, kan ada Universitas Terbuka. Kuliah bisa sambil kerja, kerja bisa sambil kuliah. Anti kau mendang-mending.
Swasta ya?
Negeri,
Pasti mahal.
murah mah.
Kalau begitu, mending kamu kuliah.
Sambil kerja.
Kuliah fleksibel sesuai gayamu. Pesona pegunungan di Kabupaten Mamasa, Sulawesi Barat menyimpan keindahan tersendiri. Salah satunya kawasan Puncak Buntu Liara atau Gunung Liara di Desa Talimbung, Kecamatan Tandukalua, yang dikenal sebagai negeri di atas awan Mamasa.
Hadirnya UT memastikan bahwa setiap warga bangsa berhak atas pendidikan tinggi di bawah kekuatan hukum tanpa adanya perbedaan. lebih dari 2 juta lulusan berhasil menyelesaikan studi di UT. Kami bangga, sudah 4 dasawarsa UT hadirkan pendidikan berkualitas tanpa batas.
UT selalu berfokus ke masa depan dengan tetap berpijak pada nilai-nilai dan budaya adiluhung Nusantara. Digitalisasi layanan pendidikan mempermudah masyarakat dan mahasiswa mendapatkan informasi mengenai UT. Selain tercetak, bahan ajar juga diberikan dalam bentuk digital guna memudahkan mobilitas mahasiswa. Dengan demikian, belajar bisa dilakukan di mana saja, kapan saja, dan bersama siapa saja. Digitalisasi pendidikan juga diformulasikan ke dalam loka pasar digital mata kuliah yang ditawarkan oleh
Education Station for all. Hello, welcome back with me, Marisha, Riana, at Cafe Break. Today, it's special day because I got one interview that talk about cognitive communication, information disorder in digital era. This is a very awesome topic that we can talk about, yeah? So you can watch this at www.utradio.ut.ac.id. You can watch us at YouTube, University Terbuka, and UT TV. You can ask the question at radio.ut in Instagram or live chat in YouTube, University Terbuka, and WhatsApp 0812-1039-2726. So today I have someone very special, far away from RUDN University. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct. Okay. He is Professor Dr. Valerii Leonidovich, Muzykant. Is it correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I can call you Prof. Valerii, right?
That's correct. Yes, please.
Correct. Okay. How are you, Prof?
I am more than less okay.
More or less.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I want to ask first, where do you get your degree?
Well, I get a couple of degrees. In my country, we have 2 levels of higher education.
Okay.
I mean, education concerning PhD. PhD is like international PhD, and then we have also doctoral.
Okay.
It's like in Germany, you know. Not just PhD, but even higher level.
Okay.
So I get my first PhD at Moscow State University, #1 in Russian Federation, and my second in sociology. I took from Russian Academy of Sciences. So I am at the same time a person who just Orientalist because I can speak a couple of Oriental languages like Indian languages, yes, and a little bit Indonesian. Satu dua tiga empat lima apa kabar?
Okay.
And then I'm sociologist, so I'm dealing with this.
Okay. So sociology, is that correct? Sociology. Why?
Yes.
Why you take that major?
Well, you know, we need to measure public opinion,
Okay.
and especially to do it in to give an unbiased assessment of the event. So it's so important in our life, especially in digital era. So I decided to combine my knowledge in some countries' culture, communication, media, and a bit of sociology. I mean, the meaning of quantitative and qualitative analysis. They both help us to see the real picture of the world concerning our topic of discussion for today.
Oh, so this is in line with what we want to talk about this topic today. Yeah? Would you like to share your insight to our audience, to UT listener, about your topic regards cognitive communication, information disorder in digital era? I think this is very good.
Sure, I will share my knowledge because yesterday we just held very important conference. Conference about different kind of challenges we are facing today, And my topic and my discussion, I was the initiator of discussion yesterday about hoaxes, how they influence our everyday life. And really, with opening our society, because title of university, Open University, at the same time, simultaneously watch some, threats, real threats. They are invisible like virus.
Yes.
It's, hoaxes, fake news, which could be differentiated in different ways, and we must know how to counter them.
Ah, correct. Okay. This is gonna be good. So, what would you like to tell us? What is that? What is that?
In the meaning of hoaxes, it means that, in digital era, so many people become, openly go to social network and share their opinions, views on anything, around you. Okay, if I'm talking about my home events, my hobby, that's okay. But if I start to interfere, to shape public opinion, especially, it means that, I must be qualified enough to talk about those topics. But who can give you permission? It's okay or not? It's just inside of you. If you're educated enough, you may talk about different topics. But if you are not, but you want to talk about this, you may share very terrible things. That is why in 2017, it was called First Report, prepared by Dr. Derakshan and Claire Ward. They prepared a special report about hoaxes and fake news. It was actually the first approach how to deal with this topic, because it's not so easy to even understand what we are talking about. And you know what's happened with us? Now we are living in the post-truth era. Post-truth, what means post-truth?
What is that?
Post-truth, it means that before we lived, in a truth era, I had to, adhere to some facts. I have to follow some kind of events. But now, because of course, digital influence, I believe in myself. I think that it is true. I want to share my truth to everyone via internet, and nobody can stop me. That's the problem.
Okay. Yes, I think that's the problem. And I want to thank you for your insightful presentation. We now want to ask to participate in the Q&A session. Maybe that you tell listener want to ask, you can ask, and please feel free to submit your question through the chat function at YouTube channel University Terbuka. We have several questions maybe that we can asking after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Setiap hari selalu kuawali dengan yang aku mau. Bebas tapi bertanggung jawab, fleksibel tapi pasti. Hari-hariku dipenuhi dengan semangat untuk kuliah dan meraih profesi. Karena aku mampu mandiri, UT menempaku untuk mandiri. UT memberiku kesempatan belajar kapan dan di mana saja. Dan tentu saja bisa mengelola waktu untuk belajar dan bekerja. Hingga kini, aku mampu meraih profesiku. Menyenangkan, dan aku siap meraih prestasi yang terbaik. Gimana dengan kamu? Kemandirian ciri khas utama kami. Ya cuma UT yang bisa begini.
Saya benar-benar yakin bahwa masa depan Indonesia itu bertumpu pada Universitas Terbuka ini. Tidak mungkin ada revolusi pendidikan tanpa teknologi, dan sekarang universitas yang sudah full online, full teknologi ya Universitas Terbuka. Ya semoga Universitas Terbuka ini semakin berkembang, amin, semakin baik ke depannya, karena benar-benar untuk bisa meningkatkan skill dari seluruh lulusan SMA di Indonesia yang banyak sekali, itu ya paling mudah dan paling scalable itu ya melalui online. Sesuatu yang tidak mungkin bisa terjadi tanpa adanya teknologi. Dan Universitas Terbuka itu adalah a key player in this, di higher education.
Sayur-sayur.
Harga-harga sekarang pada mahal.
Tiap hari masuk kayak kangkung terus.
Lihat tuh, udah jadi PNS. Padahal kuliah aja enggak. Pasti sarjananya beli.
Dia kan gak pernah kelihatan pergi kuliah. Tiba-tiba udah ada gelar SIP. Permisi.
Ibu-ibu ketinggalan berita nih. Dia kan kuliahnya di Universitas Terbuka. Kuliahnya bisa di mana aja, kapan aja, kampusnya negeri, biayanya kagak mahal. Kalau kata anak saya nih, fleksibel.
Kok abang tahu UT?
Ya tahu dong, anak saya yang nomor 1 PNS guru, lulusan UT. Nah yang nomor 2 sekarang udah semester 5.
Wah hebat abang ini, jualan sayur anaknya kuliah semua.
UT itu kan mahasiswanya beragam, dari mulai kalangan elit sampai ekonomi sulit kayak saya. Kuliah di mana aja dan kapan aja, cuma UT yang bisa begini.
Selamat datang di Universitas Terbuka. Kali ini aku akan mengajak kamu untuk virtual campus tour di Universitas Terbuka. Universitas Terbuka atau UT memiliki kantor pusat di Pondok Cabe, Tangerang Selatan, serta 39 unit program belajar jarak jauh atau UPBJJ yang tersebar di seluruh Indonesia. Dalam rangka mendukung layanan kepada mahasiswa, berbagai sarana dan prasarana dibangun dan terus ditingkatkan kualitasnya. Ayo kita mulai. Di kantor pusat, terdapat gedung fakultas yang merupakan jantung dari pengembangan produk akademik UT. Gedung fakultas telah dilengkapi dengan sarana dan prasarana untuk mendukung kenyamanan bekerja. Terdapat 4 fakultas di Universitas Terbuka dan 1 sekolah pasca sarjana. Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan, Fakultas Sains dan Teknologi, Fakultas Hukum, Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik, dan Fakultas Ekonomi, serta Sekolah Pasca Sarjana. Gedung fakultas memiliki sarana dan prasarana yang terstandar yang terdiri dari masing-masing fakultas menempati 2 lantai. 1 lantai diperuntukkan untuk ruang layanan mahasiswa, ruang konsultasi mahasiswa, ruang dekan, ruang wakil dekan, ruang kepala bagian tata usaha, ruang tenaga kependidikan, dan ruang sidang. Ruang sidang dilengkapi dengan fasilitas video conference yang digunakan untuk rapat koordinasi dengan dosen yang tersebar di UPBJJ, serta ujian sidang untuk mahasiswa pasca sarjana. Ruang dosen menempati 1 lantai yang terdiri dari ruang sidang, ruang dosen, ruang ketua jurusan, dan ruang ketua program studi. Masing-masing lantai dilengkapi dengan ruang makan, musola, dan toilet yang nyaman dan bersih. Masing-masing dosen dan tenaga kependidikan memiliki kubikel sebagai ruang kerja. Kubikel ini berukuran 2 kali 1,5 meter.
Station for all. Welcome back again with me, Marisha Riana, at Cafe Break. We're going to learn about cognitive communication, information disorder in digital era. And in here, Professor Valerii will present some presentation. This presentation is already present at OSJ, right?
That's correct, yes.
And please present to us so we can learn about this thing.
Well, yesterday we started the discussion, so let me just show you a number of slides on the topic, yeah? And if you look at the screen, you may see the topic of this discussion, cognitive communications, information disorder in digital era. What it means to us? It means that we are very vulnerable facing Internet of Things, for sure, big data, augmented reality, AI. So we just sometimes been lost and perplexed what to do. So yesterday's discussion was devoted to those topics. And I must confess that, yesterday everything was circling around political parties. Now everything has been circling around space of media. It is so important. So we must differ. What is good, what is wrong. With a group of my friends, of my people at my team, actually, I may say, if you look at this slide, you may see all of them from different countries. From Thailand, from left to the right, from Thailand, from Bangladesh, from Indonesia, from Iraq, from India. We just started that kind of research. And let me tell you, firstly, if you look at this picture, that this is international community, first of all. My PhD students from different countries of the world. And over here, we succeeded in publishing a number of research and books even. If you look at this slide, you will see in different languages. In Indonesia, like fake news during pandemic, lecture notes in networks and systems about Gojek in Indonesia and compared with Russian Yandex Taxi. So we published pandemic communication and resilience in Switzerland. So it's pretty important. And if you look at the research list, you will see that we just pretty doing well in this case. So our everyday life like that, Even wedding party you can see on that slide in the left lower corner, you see? So people just mixing, people just living their lives and publishing their interesting research. If you look over here, I just selected 10 out of maybe 30. It's very high ranking journals like Scopus Q1 or 2 or Web of Sciences Q1 or 2 and different topics. It's about Indonesia, you see. For example, cyber threats in Indonesia or biased meaning of symbols and things of Indonesia, Topeng, Malanga. You can see the puppet show, And some resources about election, how it was going on in Indonesia in 2020 at least. So many topics. I wouldn't bother you with those publications, but it's so important for the researcher to publish in the high-Q journals. That is our team. But all those topics been concentrated around hoaxes. How they can, impact us. It is a real danger. So what we discovered, let me just proceed to this number of slides. First of all, if you look at the next slide, you will see that our target audience, people mostly from 16 to 24, they are consuming via internet, via marketplaces, and they, been a target of hoaxes because they are consuming, I would say, internet field very much. They are inside of this. They are thinking that before internet era there was nothing. People didn't live before, That is why it's so important. But if you are, waging kind of business, that every business community starts with very important model of Bharat Ghoshal, who is doing marketing or management. Market Ghoshal matrix like this, you may see on the next slide, that you see, you must take into consideration local conditions. And we have 4 types of strategy: multi-domestic, transnational, global, and international. The hoaxes just, trying to use transnational strategy to interfere in different types of our life. And my first case I want to show you, it's concerning Japanese and Chinese target audiences. Please look at this slide. It was a kind of, bomb blast in communication in digital era. You see, investors from Japan failed to enter Chinese market because of this, let's say, mistake or not mistake. If you look at this case, you can see Toyota Prado is staying near Marco Polo Bridge. I was teaching in China, so I know China pretty well. So this bridge, not far away from Beijing. It is a very important place. Over there, you wouldn't believe, but the Second World War started. It was launched near that Marco Polo Bridge. And the Japanese army invaded that place and they destroyed around 30 soldiers of Chinese army. So what's happened? It's a place of sorrow for Chinese, but place maybe, I would dare say, a pride for Japanese. And they just enter with a new model of car. And you see those 2 guys, we call them here Barong, right? Yeah. Barong. And Barong, he's been saluting to that car. He's been saluting to the car, but this place of sorrow, as I mentioned before. And you want to you open and start mutually beneficial, friendly, and warm communication, negotiation at least. You must, know the details. You must use Bharat Ghoshal matrix for sure to interfere, because people dislike it. Because China lost around 30 million of people, in that war. So it was mistake, terrible mistake. It was a kind of prerequisite for hoaxes. If I show you next slide, you'll see. This man, it's Dalai Lama. Mercedes company started to promote their brand. We are using this image as if Dalai Lama is sitting inside of Mercedes, a brand new model. But he's supposed to be under arrest in China. If you want to use kind of celebrity, you must take into consideration local conditions as well. But this picture, in this case, is the most terrible one, Dolce and Gabbana. Those two famous guys, decided to enter the Chinese market via this, I would say, very weird, at least, communication. They show this girl as she's eating pizza with chopsticks. And Chinese immediately call this, a kind of Nazi advertising. Yes, because as if it disrespects national traditions. We know how to eat pizza. Why you show that we are eating pizza with chopsticks?
Yes.
That was prerequisite for our discussion. And maybe I will just concentrate your attention to this triangle. It is a very famous one. Long ago, Richard Lewis, my colleague from the United States, he presented all the world in the term of emotions. How people just react to different kind of national characters, like that. So you can see here at the top of triangle, red zone, the so-called people who oriented on a dialogue, heart-oriented people-oriented strategy. You see some countries which belong to that place, starting from Mexico, Colombia, then of course Italy, Spain, Brazil, Venezuela, Portugal, Greece, and so on, Russia as well. What it means? If you have no good negotiations, talks, I am always just, under drive of my emotions. If I like you, I tell you, yes, why not? I'm not keeping inside my emotions. People like that. If you know Italian people, they are very open, they are very loud, like that. But zone of blue color, it is so-called cold-hearted people, task-oriented. Business is above all, just business, no emotions. So facts before emotions. Is it good? Yes, sometimes it's good. But we are not robots. We're just humans, yeah?
Yes, we have feeling.
Yeah. So white Anglo-Saxon Protestants using this model everywhere. How it links with our digital era? First of all, they will never ask you about how are you doing. It's formally, apa kabar, baik, nothing else. But in reality, they gather information around you, about your CV, about some kind of your publication, your friends, but they're not directly asking you about this. So it's completely different. No emotions, it means. And number 3, you see yellow zone, reactive or jet-oriented nations. What it means? It means that, it's mostly listening cultures. I'm just mostly listen. I'm not sure emotions or my, capacity, intellectual. I'm just listen. I'm making kind of conclusions. So it's countries like Vietnam, China, Japan, Thailand, of course, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and partly Indonesia. So the world has been, divided. If I show you this map, you might see on the slide that we are really different. We are really different. And as to me, I think that hoaxes try to interfere via all those differences into our everyday life. If you look at this slide, you'll see the map. The red zone, people with emotions, and blue zone, people with money-making mind, and yellow zone, we try to listen what's going on around us. In spite we are great like China or small like Thailand, like that, yeah. So in general, you see, concerning our discussion of today, for some countries, you may see diplomacy before facts. For some countries, emotions before facts. And for some countries, facts before diplomacy. So really, we consider messages, because today I'm just sending a message to you. There is explicit messages and implicit messages. Some countries low contextual, some high contextual. What it means? Explicit. I mean what I say. I mean what I say. There is nothing, else. I'm just saying, I'm going that way. Or during negotiations talks, I'm going to sign this agreement. In agreement is everything. So there are 20 or 30 pages of agreement. But for countries with implicit messages, there are only 1-2 pages, but I must know the traditions, the roots, how to respect people. I cannot put it down in my agreement, yeah? It must be in my heart. That is the difference between explicit and implicit nations, yeah? And low contextual, it means that I mean what I say, but high contextual, I mean this, but I mean something else, something larger, bigger. And you see, let me show you one case with Mr. Trump, ex-president of the United States. If you look at the next slide, you will see 2 completely different cultures. Like Japan, Japanese Prime Minister, the late Shinzo Abe, and ex-president Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump is saying, what he's saying? He's saying that U.S. stands 100% behind Japan. So we support you. But because of his gesture, his movements like that, he made Mr. Abe just to turn his face. He disliked it very much, this behavior, because you are saying this, but your meaning is being, hidden. It is really not explicit, but implicit messages, yeah? But Mr. Trump is unaware what's going on. Maybe that is why the first ever fake, you can see the slide, when Mr. Trump in 2016, during his campaigning, by the way, his followers were about 20 million Americans. They were so, disappointed with his position because he put that picture with Pope Francis and Mr. Trump together. There was no messages, but it was looking like Pope Francis, support Mr. Trump. It was the very beginning of fake era in the proper meaning of the word, So our today's talk is supposed to be about this topic, and if you just give me a chance, I will show you the classification of fakes, how really you can differ among them. That's okay? May I show this?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So let me just show all those things because it's so important. If you look at this scale, the most vulnerable target audience because of fakes, the people of 16-24, as I mentioned before. Look, some fakes actually making low harm. It seems to be that's okay, like satire or parody. What it means? I am joking, I'm playing jokes with, I'm parodying very important person. As if I put his mask, I'm prime minister, I'm like that, Looking at that picture, people step by step starting not to believe to that man being under parody, yeah. So it seems to be very slight, slight kind of fake. The second is, false connection. The event has nothing to do. So with the event, so I'm talking about that, but show different examples, proofs, of the event. So I'm trying to manipulate. What is the difference between manipulations and influence? Manipulation means that I don't care into account, I don't care much about your ambitions. I wouldn't inform you what is the aim of our process here. And the third one, it's called misleading content, which I'm trying via my content, to reach some special aims. You don't know which one. These 3 types been considered in the left side of the slide, been considered as a low harm, relatively low harm. But next 4, the most dangerous. Firstly, false context. This context has nothing to do with the events, has nothing to do. But I'm trying to present this context as if it is about our present life, yeah. Then imposter content as well, without source of information, you see? No copyright. And then manipulated content when I take some parts from different events and just try to make it as a whole text. And finally, the most dangerous one with a high harm, fabricated content. It's been fabricated. It has nothing to do at all. It includes all previous cases, even like a deep fake. We can talk about fabricated fakes. Let me show the example of parody. You see, it seems nothing to be. It's this wooden doll called matryoshka in Russian. Matryoshka, inside smaller, smaller, smaller. And I found out in Emirates this, case when you can see Arab sheikhs, in this way. It seems to be nothing. It's satirical parody, but in reality sheikhs dislike this. Because over here you may see it's a kind of joke. It's a kind of joke and it's ruining the image of sheikhs, you see, in reality. And let me finish this part with one more slide. The first ever fake about my country, about Russia. When COVID-19 was, breaking out, then this kind of fake appeared, internationally. And my African students asked me, we've never seen on Moscow streets lions or tigers, but the hoaxes were about, as if Russian president, released 800 tigers and lions to force residents to stay home, not to go out. You can imagine that. The picture in reality was from Johannesburg, from South African Republic. But people believed, and African students tried to, to verify this event. They were looking from the window and asking, is it really lions? But it was, very cold that time in Russia, minus 20 degrees centigrade. Yeah. So it's the very beginning of our discussion like this. Any questions? Welcome, dear listeners and who just watching us. So we just, started with this. If I may go on, I'll show you released fake of Pope, as if he's wearing like that coat, It's forbidden. But it was created by neural network. So artificial intelligence becoming, very important influencer of the situation, That is why yesterday we asked many questions. How can we predict? Is it possible to predict? The innovations are always ahead of our investigations. Always, That is why we always be lapping behind. You see, but the common things, which is very of great concern for all researchers, our next slide, it's about, when someone can easily make some slight changes, in the picture. And reality, on the right side you can see the real picture. But someone wanted to spoil the image of Antifa, anti-fascist movement, and they put on the back of this guy label of Antifa, as if Antifa is beating the policeman. This is really huge harm. It's manipulated content, huge harm. That is why, talking about hoaxes, we must be very clear. They could be divided in 3 groups. False, false is misinformation, relatively small harm. But when I have intention to harm someone, it is disinformation. And something between, like we call it malinformation. What means mal or malinformation? M-A-L, malinformation. You may see in the slightly blue zone, malinformation. And it's very popular today in some countries, in Europe especially, when I am, making public your address, your home address. You are living over there, so you're responsible for this is your family. Your kids are going to this school. You see, it's not just about bullying, it's something more. Because you are becoming, the target of those who are supposed to make something with your family. They are making a stress, a pressure on you, on your activity. And you just becoming, a kind of hostage of the situation. So these 3 types were presented first in 2017. Disinformation, misinformation, malinformation. And it makes influence, on different target of business group as well. If you look at this slide, you will see that impacts different kind of suppliers, staff, customers, management of the company, stakeholders, of course, creditors and competitors and government, of course, supply. So you see, everybody is under influence of fakes. For business, it's very dangerous because they can spoil your image forever. You will never whiten of your image, yeah? At the same time, it may influence, of course, our studies in journalism, public relations. You may see on the next slide, public relations inventor, my colleagues, James Grunik. And this man, you may see on the next slide, is, created these 4 models of public relation. I will not go into details, but you must know that this is a threat to all our lives, business, political as well. So we made kind of research first wave in Indonesia. Now we are in Indonesia. Let me introduce this research. So we elaborated and distributed questionnaire around all parts of Indonesia. And here you can see who responded to this. And the results, I would dare say, shocked us. Firstly, if you look at the next slide, you will see that a half of Indonesians, just after the COVID, were facing difficulties to identify fakes. It's not so easy, really. A half of educated people from different colleges, institutions and universities, every second is dealing with this problem, yeah. Though the main problem is also that it's not clear to, for 66%, not easy to, to identify them. They are, aware that there is fake, not easy to identify, and, first of all, they are annoying people. Almost all people out of more than 500 respondents, they were annoyed because of those fakes. They annoyed us. And during COVID, of course, there were the most number of hoaxes about COVID, for sure. But the most interesting thing as well, fakes and hoaxes concern government and politics. And, almost all Indonesians are aware that fakes and hoaxes created to shape public opinion. You see? To shape public opinion. So we understand that it is a threat. But how to deal with this? And the most important result, people are keeping mum. They are quiet. They are not willing to discuss the topic even, because they're keeping inside this information. If they want to check up what's going on, they are going to Google, It's incredible to Google to check the same news. Right. But you have been in the kind of information bubble, and Google saying, you are right, it's okay, please go ahead. And in Indonesia, the most, I would say, huge number of fakes is fabricated news. In Indonesia, we have here a couple of organizations which are doing it very well, like Mofindo and some others, they are checking up the news, but fabricated the most dangerous one. And you know which platform has been doing this business? What? You'll be surprised. Yeah.
What is that?
You see, this is WhatsApp and Facebook, but mostly Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp, you see.
Yes.
It's incredible. You may see the results on the next slide. And it shocked us. It was a first wave 2 years ago. But we were going on with this. Yeah. Anyway, so what is to be done in this case? So let me talk about this a little bit. What is to be done? You see the phenomena of fake news in post-truth era, that if truth era, I think, therefore I am. It was like that motto. But now in post-truth, I believe, therefore I am right. You will ask me, if there are any prerequisites for this position, I believe, therefore I am right. Yes. If you look at our history, you will see that the meaning of truth completely different for many countries. For German and Finnish people, true, that is the truth. Very simple. What is truth? It's what is really the truth. But in Japan and Britain, the main thing is that there was no quarrel, that is truth. If no quarrel, that is truth. We are looking for kind of compromise. In Italy, you can agree upon truth. It's incredible. You can agree upon truth. If we agree, that is truth. Okay. In Spain, when honor is upper hand, taken upper hand. So we have different meanings. And you wouldn't believe if I show you gestures of people from different countries at the next slide. People from different countries. You see that in different countries we have different kind of gestures. So there is a kind of, ground for misinterpretation, what's going on around us. Even slightly, because of those gestures, we may interpret them in different way. Come here in this way, or come here in this way. In Bulgaria, we say no, it means no, no. Yes.
Oh.
You see? It's incredible.
It's no.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Yes, you're right.
Oh, okay.
So we are living in the world with so many prerequisites for this stuff. But the maybe main idea of my report, that some countries oriented on individual information. I'm asking you. If I need to know something, I would better ask you, because I see I'm asking you. For people-oriented countries like Italy, Belgium, France, Russia, it's okay, I will better ask you. But for some countries, I am oriented on data gathering, not asking you, as I mentioned before. And for some countries, I am listening what's going on around me and taking decision after all those events. So let me just summarize. You see? So perception is an individual interpretation of the events and phenomena. And that is the main prerequisite for what's going on. And during COVID-19 and after COVID, we are living in after COVID society. It's funny to see those false, Firstly, if you talk about a friend of mine from China, he was staying in Edinburgh in Britain. And he was surprised when Britons, decided to ruin G5 telecommunication towers. They ruined because somebody was saying that these 5G stations, they're spreading the COVID. It's incredible. They ruined completely 5G stations in Edinburgh. He was watching this. He was witness of that. It's false. You may see on the next slide. Yeah. Okay, you may say, 5G has nothing to do with our everyday life. But you see, maybe, Dettol liquid for washing your hands like that. Someone was saying that if you consume Dettol, it will be good. You will never get COVID. And people consumed it in Africa for sure, in Asia for sure. And next slide, showing this fake. And you ask me, could we predict and show this case before? No, nobody can, predict people's behavior. That's the problem in this era. So what we do expect? Actually, for us as journalists, it's very important. Who was the beginner? Who started this hoax spreading? I will name you this guy. It was a guy, Eduardo Martins. You may see his face on the next slide. He was using his face and put in some context which has nothing to do with the event. As if he's been presented in Syria or in Turkey, in some, warfare countries, and it's unbelievable. He sold those pictures to different, like even New York Times, Yes. So those photographs been stolen, and sometimes he installed his image like that. So that is the main topic, And fortunately, we have in Indonesia different kind of statistic bureau who just dealing with what's going on around us, especially Russia, because I'm from Russia, And we made second wave of research about fakes and hoaxes in Indonesia. There were a couple of groups, more than 500, so it is, we may say that, it is more or less unbiased assessment of the event. What we found out, we found out that in general, people depict Russia not in negative image, Mostly they are looking at Russia in a positive way. Yeah. We proved our previous research. Though people easily notice when something bad has been saying about Russia also. It was opinion of respondents in Indonesia. May I give some cases of that? Please. Yeah. Firstly, if you look at this one, as if there is some special aircraft which is destroying some Russian aircraft during special military operation, it was first impression, but then appeared, a kind of disclaimer of this event. That it has nothing to do with reality. No name of this pilot, no name of this man has been found. So it's considered as a fake by Indonesian researchers, yeah. Then the most, important fake of today is that China supports Russia in the meaning of military supplies like that. Very soon, appear disclaimer. It has nothing to do with reality. And please, you may look at this, source of information like that. It's done completely by Indonesian specialists. So I may say that in your country, you are trying to preserve the roots, the dignity of nation, and you want to keep your nation, healthy, in the meaning of using hoaxes. But they appear. There are many cases. Let me just maybe mention about one more thing, This one about as if Russian missile targeted Poland, Then the disclaimer appeared immediately, It has nothing to do with reality. But who cares when you apologize later on? Yes, of course, yes. I have a number of cases like that in Indonesia. That is why maybe the man like, this professional, Mr. Carlson, he's very important with his speech. But the question is it his position? He's given unbiased assessment, but he's under threat, because he's speaking the truth. Maybe you know the face of this guy. Let me show you next slide. Slide a little bit delayed, so I'm just a little bit, So yes. Mr. Carlson, yes, Mr. Carlson. This man, he was, fired from his main place of work, but now he's doing well. And he's supporting Trump, as you know. He's trying to talk about true events, as to me. But the question is, he's only alone in this digital era. And this face of the man in the middle, who knows this guy, what is his name? He's pretty famous, #1 in information field of today, in digital era. Who knows this name? You know this name, by the way?
I don't know.
Yes, sir. You know this man? Yeah, it's Mr. who invented Instagram, Paul Durov. It's Paul Durov. Now he's been taken into custody in France.
Oh.
Yes, this man, yeah.
Why?
Yeah, as if he was invited for the dinner. I don't know what is the reason. He was invited to France. He appeared over there, and they took him into custody. Yeah, and because Instagram seems to be the only one vehicle of delivering messages in a free society. Because there is no control. Nobody can get a clue, a key. From those messages to if we talk about encryption and description of messages. He's still closed, pretty close for everyone to interfere. It's really independent and free. Though he was blamed as if he's responsible that out of almost 1 billion subscribers, there is, of course, some people with bad intentions, of course. But he's not responsible. It's just technology. You may use it in a good or bad, for good or bad purposes. Now he's taken into custody. But I'm sure he will not give up because, his brother is staying in Russia. His brother really inventor, but he's like a face of this, Instagram. Sorry, Instagram is forbidden in Russian Federation. By the way, if there is a question, we don't use this, unfriendly social network. It's been forbidden now. If you want to make a research, you must put a disclaimer that Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, they are forbidden because they are unfriendly. They are distorting the facts. Yep. So we are not, it's kind of protection of people and researchers against fakes, against shaping people's mind, with unfriendly ideas. You may ask me, is it good or not? I don't know yet, but for sure it works for the good purposes now, yeah. Because if you are ready, you are a specialist in communication, professor as me, or you are associate professor, or you're just lecturer, of course you know what's going on. But for common people, they don't care much. They see it, for them it means that it's true. Let me distribute these fakes. Let me share this news with my friends. For fun, like that. And you see, Mr. Trump, he was very concerned about, because Mark Zuckerberg,
Mark Zuckerberg?
yes, he just, gave the key he led them, yes,
data.
yes, it was, before the commission in Senate, he just, said, okay, you may look inside like that, and that is why Trump published this information for political journal that, during election, I don't know yet. Mark Zuckerberg was, in which position, because easily when you enter inside, you may manipulate, That's the problem. That is why probably Paul Durov was, like that, sitting in that in custody right now. If you look at the most a list of social platforms with at least 1 million monthly activity, you will see the top 10 for today. It is so interesting, You can see 10 of them. It seems to be there is a choice, a wide choice, for people. It seems to be like that, right? Even 10 platforms. Do you think they are connected with each other or not? Or they completely independent? The question is.
The question?
Yes, and please, if you answer that question during maybe our break or now.
No, there are some questions that came, but we're going to break before I read the question from you listeners. In here, we break for 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, sounds good.
Anda sedang mendengarkan UT Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Sayur. Harga-harga sekarang pada mahal.
Tiap hari masaknya kangkung terus.
Lihat tuh, udah jadi PNS. Padahal kuliah aja enggak. Pasti sarjananya beli.
Dia kan nggak pernah kelihatan pergi kuliah. Tiba-tiba udah ada gelar SIP. Permisi.
Ibu-ibu ketinggalan berita nih. Dia kan kuliahnya di Universitas Terbuka. Kuliahnya bisa di mana aja, kapan aja, kampusnya negeri, biayanya kagak mahal. Kalau kata anak saya nih, fleksibel.
Kok abang tahu UT?
Ya tahu dong, anak saya yang nomor 1 PNS guru, lulusan UT. Nah yang nomor 2 sekarang udah semester 5.
Wah hebat abang ini, jualan sayur anaknya kuliah semua.
UT itu kan mahasiswanya beragam, dari mulai kalangan elit sampai ekonomi sulit kayak saya. Kuliah di mana aja dan kapan aja, cuma UT yang bisa begini.
Selamat datang di Universitas Terbuka. Kali ini aku akan mengajak kamu untuk virtual campus tour di Universitas Terbuka. Universitas Terbuka atau UT memiliki kantor pusat di Pondok Cabe, Tangerang Selatan, serta 39 unit program belajar jarak jauh atau UPBJJ yang tersebar di seluruh Indonesia. Dalam rangka mendukung layanan kepada mahasiswa, berbagai sarana dan prasarana dibangun dan terus ditingkatkan kualitasnya. Ayo kita mulai. Di kantor pusat, terdapat gedung fakultas yang merupakan jantung dari pengembangan produk akademik UT. Gedung fakultas telah dilengkapi dengan sarana dan prasarana untuk mendukung kenyamanan bekerja. Terdapat 4 fakultas di Universitas Terbuka dan 1 sekolah pasca sarjana. Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan, Fakultas Sains dan Teknologi, Fakultas Hukum, Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik, dan Fakultas Ekonomi, serta Sekolah Pasca Sarjana. Gedung fakultas memiliki sarana dan prasarana yang terstandar yang terdiri dari masing-masing fakultas menempati 2 lantai. 1 lantai diperuntukkan untuk ruang layanan mahasiswa, ruang konsultasi mahasiswa, ruang dekan, ruang wakil dekan, ruang kepala bagian tata usaha, ruang tenaga kependidikan, dan ruang sidang. Ruang sidang dilengkapi dengan fasilitas video conference yang digunakan untuk rapat koordinasi dengan dosen yang tersebar di UPBJJ, serta ujian sidang untuk mahasiswa pascasarjana. Ruang dosen menempati satu lantai yang terdiri dari ruang sidang, ruang dosen, ruang ketua jurusan, dan ruang ketua program studi. Masing-masing lantai dilengkapi dengan ruang makan, musola, dan toilet yang nyaman dan bersih. Masing-masing dosen dan tenaga kependidikan memiliki kubikel sebagai ruang kerja. Kubikel ini berukuran 2 kali 1,5 meter. Setiap kubikel dilengkapi dengan komputer yang telah terinstal Microsoft 365 yang berlisensi. Untuk mendukung layanan kepada mahasiswa, Universitas Terbuka juga memiliki beberapa sarana dan prasarana pendukung sebagai berikut. Pusat Produksi Multimedia merupakan unit pelaksana teknis yang bertugas untuk memproduksi bahan ajar. Gedung ini dilengkapi dengan peralatan produksi materi-materi dalam bentuk video dan audio. Produksi materi cetak juga diproduksi di sini dengan menggunakan peralatan dan software terkini. Pusat Layanan Bahan Ajar merupakan unit pelaksana teknis yang bertugas untuk melakukan distribusi bahan ajar. Gedung ini dilengkapi sarana dan prasarana untuk menyimpan dan pengemasan bahan ajar dan bahan ujian. Pusat Layanan Pustaka atau Puslata. UPT Puslata melayani penyediaan bahan-bahan pustaka bagi mahasiswa.
Education station for all. Welcome back again at Cafe Break with me, Marisha, Riana, and still with my professor in here. We talk about the cognitive communication information disorder in digital era. That we have some slide that explain. Then we have a big picture about this topic, and this is so good to us to understand. And some question get in at the YouTube, our live chat. First from Maria Teresia. Hello, Maria Teresia.
Hello, Maria Teresia.
She asking she asking two questions. The first is, what is delusional disorder information for patients?
Well, Maria Teresa, you know, effect of information disorder, firstly, it's a cognitive effect. What it means cognitive? Cognitive, it's very easy to make people believe in what they really believe not.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at this slide, you know, even people who don't read the Inquirer were exposed to these headlines, which are really political ads. At this slide, you can see all of them. Inquirers check out. I said, you know, real estate is invaluable for political communication. How many 30 seconds impression would all those covers to be worth? What I mean, I may easily change your attitude to anything, you know. I just compiled here all the front pages, you know.
Mm.
And this is, you know, seems to be that no other problems in the world. This one so bothering us. It is the vital topic of today. Or here, you know, next slide. The weeklies also featured following coverage of Trump, promising to reveal the Trump nobody knows. You see? And here all headlines, you know. How Trump will be debated, like that, like that, like that, you know. It's in the top. So someone can, you know, whiten up or just, you know, try to spoil image of someone.
Mm-hmm.
Cognitive, it means that, you know, it influences your brains firstly. Mm-hmm. And you see, you'll be surprised if you look at the next slide. Let's compare. Since 2011, almost 90% of media were consolidated by, you know, 6 companies in the world. It's unbelievable. 6 companies are ruling the world. You may see in this slide. And, you know, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, big data, Internet of Things. There is someone who just, you know, making a kind of show out of this. You say, I don't believe it. Let me name those organizations, you know. So over here you may see all of them, you know. There are 6 companies. News Corporation, General Electric, Disney, our lovely Disney with marketeers, yeah, Time Warner, and CBS. 90% of information field here belongs to those media giants. And my question is, it's a question, yeah, open question. Yeah. Do you think, are we really independent? Maybe because of this, Paul Durov and Mr. Carson under such attack. That's my question. We have to answer this question with you, our dear listeners and watchers, right? It's about my answer about this question. Maybe some other questions we have.
Yes, we have another question, still from Maria Theresia. She asked 2 questions. This is the second. What the effect of information disorder?
The effect is terrible, really, because, it's a kind of mania when you depend. Some people just starting their day with looking at the news. And some people, most people, even younger generations, they are, ending their day with, Instagram or some other things like that.
Yep.
But when I tell you something, what was the idea of invention TV? The idea was invention newspaper, radio, and internet. What is the main function of newspaper? Why newspaper is still alive? Everybody was saying that, it will disappear. Like long ago, it was discussion about a theater. When cinematography was invented, there is no theater. We don't need theater. But still we have all kinds of information sources. So newspaper was invented for what? This technological process. The newspaper is supposed to analyze the news. The technological process is so long for printed media. But if a newspaper is in the internet, you don't need long articles.
Yes.
It's very short one. Sometimes only headlines is important.
Yep.
It's a kind of, though the main idea was for newspapers is analysis. For radio, you don't have, visible possibility. So you just about radio, you are thinking about this, like music, listening to music. You just imagine something, yeah. For radio, main idea is to listen to the source and include your brain's, thinking process. For TV is for demonstrating something. It's a kind of chewing gum for our eyes.
Yeah.
So newspaper for analyzing, radio for listening and imagining something, and TV for watching, for demonstrating and watching. Why the internet is so popular? It's a question. I will answer that question, Maria Theresia. If you think a little bit about internet, you will see that internet was discussed. It was created for discussion, just discussion, and discussion.
Yep.
For people who just not so busy in making money in something like this, they are just making. But some people making money out of discussion, like bloggers, like VIP person, like celebrities, like that. So if you ask, is it really influence our brains? Yes. People becoming very dependable. They are vulnerable, and they are dependable of what they're, they're seeing, what they are just listening to, what they are just, because we are just humans. There is a compassion, so we are looking and we are trying to follow all those, leaders of public opinion. In China once, company Zara, I'm sure you know this company Zara. It's like a fast fashion retailer, let's say. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, correct. Because Prada, if you invent something, in a half a year it appears, in a massive sale. But this company just doing it in 2 weeks, very quickly.
Yep.
And you see, they decided to enter Chinese market. They, advertised with this special face of a girl with freckles. In China, there is no freckles on a girl's face. So it means that they wanted to change the nation code even, So behind small things like that there are really, really special intentions. We are open, but we must be protected by ourselves against, you see, who likes Disney? I like. But besides Disney, there are many companies inside of this. like ABC, like Touchstone Pictures, even Buena Vista. So there is something which has nothing to do with World of Wonders, you know. But they use an umbrella brand to protect all of their intentions. You see, now again, 90% of companies and 90% of information field, what we watch, what we see, what we discuss, what we read, listen, belongs to 6 media giants. That is why in our team we decided to go on with research, and still 3 projects in cases in progress. They're about different things, but they concern Indonesia very much. Comparative media coverage of climate change in Indonesian print and newspapers. How it's been covered, you know, in Compass and Tempo. This article has been under publishing because climate change and global warming is so important. Firstly, we published like 10 years ago with my friend from UPN Veteran University, Munadhil Abdul Muksid, my PhD student, now he's associate professor. So it's about, you know, what's going on with climate in Indonesia. We can feel it, you know. We have maybe the same number of harvests, but rice is not so tasty. You can feel it every day, their life. This heavy raining for today and like that, they started a little bit earlier, right?
Yes.
Not just in time, like as usually.
Yeah.
So we are feeling it every day. In my country, the weather is changing for more hot weather.
Oh.
Yes, it's good for my country, generally, we're generally cold country, But for some countries, it's very dangerous like that. The second topic of our research concerning hoaxes, media literacy ecosystem model for senior high school in Indonesia. Because we have to start talking about hoaxes, not in universities or colleges, maybe in the family. It's special kind of ecosystem. We must clear the minds of our kids, you know, to protect them about all those terrible things, you know. You may see in the slides, this is research number 2. And of course, we are taking care of image of Indonesia and Russia, our relations. So relation number 3 in publication in Scopus 2, sociological approach towards Russia's image in a multipolar world portrayed on Indonesian media. So in my group, we constantly understudy what's going on. And each university is supposed to do this research. Because we are just scientists. I'm professor, doctor. And that is why in our team, I will show you the next slide, you will see those people with Indonesian flag, you know, after the defense of one PhD students from Indonesia, we are celebrating, you know. We are celebrating, but we are constantly thinking about what's going on in this field. And especially the most vulnerable part of our target audience is old people, adults. Because they believe in everything what's going on around. You know? They are very, very open to different tricks created by hoaxes. You know?
Yes.
Recently,
easy to believe. The old people is easy to believe.
That's correct. Especially elder generation. They, you know, they never were thinking. They could imagine that situation like that what was happening. You know. And you can easily, via hoaxes, change the governments, you know. What's happening in Bangladesh, not so far from Indonesia, that country, The prime minister was replaced very easily. She quitted to Dhaka, to India, so from Dhaka to Delhi in India, you know, and like that, you see, what it means? It means that, you see, you can easily do some very terrible things, nobody even thinking what's going on, but the reason is really, they wanted to capture St. Martin Island, very geographically, geopolitically important place. So it's about everything of the topic. Let me say something at the end of our discussion to summarize.
Yes, please.
Firstly, terima kasih. It was
you
very
so much.
interesting having you with us in our during our discussion. And you know, I wish that you will look at the hoaxes more seriously. Not to check up hoaxes via Google, for sure, because we are in the same information bubble. That's the main problem.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor. This is incredible. We can have a lot of information that make us to think big and open about this issue, that we have to learn to separate what is correct, what is not correct. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you so much for being with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih kepada UT listeners yang telah menyimak tayangan hari ini. Saya Marisha Riana pamit undur suara. Sampai jumpa lagi di lain kesempatan. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. UT Radio, Open Education Station for All. Bye.
Bye.